University of York. This is the research room.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to the research room with me, Lucy Ather.
And me, Janine Healy.
And today on the research room, we have a very special episode because we've left YTU. We've ventured out across the university to the Department of Psychology, and we're going to speak to Emma Sullivan all about her project, which is to do with sleep and anxiety. So welcome to the research room, Emma.
Hello, great to be here. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming.
Good to see you.
So just to kick us off, could you just introduce yourself for us?
Yes, my name's Emma. I'm a postdoc researcher at the Department of Psychology. I've been doing that for about 2 years. Before that, I also did my PhD in the Department of Psychology. And my PhD and my postdoc is broadly on the impact of sleep on our emotions and mental health.
Brilliant. Oh, I'm excited to learn all about sleep.
Yes, I know. So how did you get into sleep research?
I actually did a sleep module in my psychology A-level and loved it. And then I did my undergrad here as well quite a while ago.
Oh, wow. So you've been at York for ages.
Well, I left. This was like over 10 years ago. I did my undergrad. I left for a bit and then I came back to do my PhD, which is quite nice. But York, the psychology department has a 3-bedroom sleep lab, which is not typical of every psychology department.
Oh,
yeah,
a sleep lab.
Double bed. It used to be single beds at undergrad. Now it's double. They've
upgraded,
renovated, yeah. And they did like an optional module in third year was on sleep. So that was a really big factor in me wanting to do my undergrad here and learn sort of more about sleep. So my third year project was also on sleep. It was on sleep and how that affects how we process the emotions of faces. But your kind of arousal response to like an angry face, that sort of thing.
Oh, right.
It was a nap study, actually, my undergrad.
So like how you recognise sort of emotions on people's faces.
Yeah, your kind of physiological reaction to seeing like an angry face and things like that.
And that changes if you've had a nap.
We didn't find anything, but we did it because previous studies had, but we had quite a small sample in undergrad.
So that was your undergrad project.
Yeah, that's why the details are very vague.
Yeah,
it's a while ago.
Yeah. And then I did a few different. Went to do my master's and did a few different research assistant jobs, kind of dipping in and out of sleep, just kind of getting what I could and getting different experience. And then I was really keen to come back to do my PhD. So I did it supervised by Scott Carney in the department, who was a postdoc when I was an undergrad. And then he was a lecturer by the time I came back.
Oh, that's
nice. So my PhD, we kind of came up with the idea together to look more at like what kind of mechanisms link sleep to mental health. So particularly like emotion as a sort of mechanism. And I've just always been interested in it.
Yeah, you've just always loved sleep.
Yeah, and I love to sleep.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. I don't like getting up, that's the thing.
Yeah. You could get involved with some sleep studies and then you get to sleep during the day.
I know.
There's a couple of nap studies running up at the moment. They do pee as well.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
A nap study.
I don't nap. Really, it's quite hard for me to nap.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll do the nap study instead.
Okay, then. So can Lucy do one of the nap studies?
Yeah, sign me up.
I'll come and watch. Oh no, that's a bit weird.
That's really weird. Please don't come and watch me sleep.
No, I don't want to do that.
You can watch her brainwaves. There's no cameras in the sleep lab, but we have like a separate room where you can look at people's brain activity.
Oh, right.
So that's what we use, like, to determine what stage of sleep. So you can come and watch her.
Oh, I watch brainwaves.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
And
yeah,
like,
that.
it's sleep EEG is really cool. It's like really obvious when somebody's in different stages of sleep based on what the brain pattern looks like.
Oh, I didn't realise it was that. That's much better than watching somebody sleep. I don't really.
Yeah.
Oh.
So do your brainwaves change? Because there's different phases of sleep, levels of sleep. And then does your brain get more active and less active and things?
Yeah, well, there's 4 stages of sleep.
Mm.
The The first one's stage 1, which looks a lot like wake, and it's quite actually hard to determine on the EEG when someone's fallen asleep. And then you progress to stage 2, which has these like little patterns called sleep spindles, where it like kind of goes like a V sort of shape, up and then down. So that's how you kind of tell somebody's in stage 2. And then there's slow wave sleep, which is characterized by these massive slow waves. So it's like, it's quite hard to describe unless you see it. So it's like these are kind of rolling slow waves. And then there's rapid eye movement sleep, REM sleep.
I've heard of that, I think.
I've heard of that.
So we have to stick wires on the face as well when people sleep. So when someone's in REM sleep, their eyes do like rolling movements, and their chin muscles, you have like muscle paralysis in REM sleep. So your chin muscles are flat. So that's why we have these extra signals. So we can kind of tell, if we combine all these signals together, it looks like they're in REM sleep.
Very cool.
And overnight's a lot easier because you'll spend like hours, quite a long time in these sleep stages. Whereas when you do a nap, you kind of go backwards and forwards between them. So it's really hard to kind of see it's much harder to kind of determine what stage somebody's in.
And can you tell when someone's dreaming?
No. No. It's a myth that you just dream in REM sleep. You can actually dream in all the sleep stages.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
dreaming is, I know less about the field, but dreaming is a massive like enigma that everyone's super interested in. Yeah.
I thought you'd be able to tell when someone's dreaming from their brainwaves, but if you can't even tell when someone's dreaming, it must be quite hard to study people dreaming.
Yeah. You have to rely a lot on people telling you they've dreamt. There's some cool work at the moment where they're trying to like influence what participants do before they fall asleep, and then see if that kind of gets infiltrated in a dream. But yeah, it's a very emerging field, and so far they rely a lot on just the participant having to say,
just tell me what you
kind
dreamed.
of. You don't always remember your dreams very well either. So yeah.
Oh wow, God, it's fascinating.
It is, yes.
But you're not here to tell us about dreaming.
No, sorry.
It's okay.
That's fine. You're here to tell us all about your research. So you've got 2 different projects that you're going to tell us about today. So could you tell us about your first project? And that's, you were using a VR headset, I think?
Yeah. So this was a study I did in my PhD, so a couple of years ago now, and we collected loads of data, so finally kind of just writing this up at the moment to submit it. It's been like a very long journey. So we were broadly interested with this study in the link between sleep and state anxiety. So state anxiety is like more of a transitory emotional state where we're feeling sort of nervous, apprehensive, and it's characterized by like physiological arousal. So you can think like increased heart rate, increased skin sweat response. So we are interested in that kind of component of it.
What does it actually mean, that though? You know, when you say state of arousal,
like your heart rate goes more. Right?
Yeah, like your physiological response. We can measure heart rate, how fast your heart's beating, and a skin sweat response, which is where we put some like electrodes on the fingertips. And if you're kind of got higher levels of state anxiety, the idea is you're kind of got sort of a higher skin sweat response.
Oh, I see. When you say state anxiety, is that just like
it's it's the anxiety that arises like in response to a direct emotional experience. So it's distinguished from trait anxiety, which
what's that?
Is kind of people's predisposition to be anxious. Yeah, which is why I like to make the distinction. So trait anxiety is more characteristic of kind of clinical anxiety. This is like state anxiety is what can occur pretty easily if we're in the right situation.
Oh, right. So if something shocks you or something, or you're frightened.
Yeah, I always use the example of giving a talk, like giving a talk in front of loads of people. It really ramps up my state anxiety levels.
Definitely. Like feeling nervous really about something in particular.
Like my palms get so sweaty. And previous studies have looked at if you deprive people of sleep for one night and you look at state anxiety using a questionnaire measure, that your state anxiety increases 27% overnight compared to people that just had a night of sleep.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're more, or previous studies have found you're more sort of prone to state anxiety when you haven't had a good night's sleep.
Yeah, and like the kind of most shocking finding is they use this state anxiety questionnaire. It's quite popular. It's called like the state trait anxiety inventory, and there's a state version and a trait version. So they use the state version.
Okay.
Is that there's like a clinical cutoff on that questionnaire of like 40, and after a night after staying awake all night, over half the participants are over the clinical cutoff on this questionnaire.
Oh, right.
So like they make the argument that a night of sleep deprivation can literally sort of induce clinical levels of state anxiety the next day. Yeah, which is pretty shocking.
Yeah,
it is, isn't it?
Yeah, and often studies look at state anxiety in response to kind of like quite static things like emotional images, for example, and then measure like heart rate, skin sweat response. So we were really interested in kind of how anxiety might evolve over time.
Yeah.
So maybe you're in kind of a uncertain, sort of threatening environment, and then you go straight to like a happy, safe environment. How does your anxiety recover? And then let's say you've gone back into the same environment, like are you going to be just as kind of anxious as you were the first time, or are you going to sort of learn that, you know, this, I've been in this environment before, this is a safe environment, like I'm not going to feel as anxious this time. So we were really interested in whether sleep loss compared to a night of sleep really impairs your ability to kind of recover from your anxiety levels, and then what happens when you're exposed to the same sort of environment again. Can you kind of learn, are you able to sort of learn that that's not an environment you should feel as anxious in? So how this kind of anxiety unfolds, which is why we developed this virtual reality world to kind of test that.
Yeah. So did the previous studies, it would be more, they'd show you like a scary image.
Yeah, or sometimes a short film clip or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they kind of just take sort of one response.
But you want to know more about moving through different situations.
Yeah, so there's been like nothing on this in terms of like looking at the transition from maybe like a threatening environment to then non-threat, or a threatening environment and then the same sort of environment to like repeated threat. So it's like a really novel area. Yeah, and using VR as well.
Oh yes, we've seen the little episode that you show.
Yeah,
it's a bit scary, isn't it?
Yeah. So you had, so it's a VR virtual reality headset.
Yeah,
and then you kind of play in that, or when you wear it, you can see. Yeah, it's like a creepy sort of walkthrough, isn't it? You should probably explain it better than me.
Yeah, we try to. Well, participants stand up with the headset on, and they have a controller in their hand which they use to kind of move. They do end up sort of walking around a bit because they have to like orientate themselves. And we had like the headset had like a wire coming off the back that was like hung to the ceiling, so it just looks like And I would say like I kind of have to monitor where they're walking, so they don't walk into anything.
Make sure they don't walk into the wall.
And then they had headphones on top, so it was like super immersive. And we really kind of drew on, not that I'm like a game person at all, but we really drew on like the horror game literature and to how we can create like the threatening environments in the VR world, which really were designed to ramp up people's anxiety levels. So you'll have seen in the video, it is very dark and they have like a torch. So a lot of their view is like occluded and lots of hidden like corners where things could be lurking. We played on the sound to make it quite ominous and creepy. So the idea was that nothing would like come out and jump, with no jump scares. It was just designed for you to think, oh God, what's going to happen to me?
Yeah, it's like you're permanently in that, you're almost expecting a jump scare. You're in that nervous bit before.
Yeah, we call it something called like ambiguous threat. So something you're just uncertain about what's going to happen. And it's kind of the ideal environment to really ramp up people's anxiety levels.
So did you look at sort of video games and things for inspiration? How did you come up with that?
Yeah, we worked with Guy Schofield, who at the time in the computer science department had worked with one of my supervisors, Cade, and designed this kind of VR world that was quite similar called the Underwood Project. And that was just a few rooms that were completely like drawing on this ambiguously threatening environment. And at the end, they actually had like a monster like running towards you.
Oh no!
And the lights would go out as you come back up the lift. Like it was quite scary, but I didn't have that bit in mind. So we built on that, and then we also built in these kind of non-threatening parts. So you might have seen the video. We had these really nice, lovely little office rooms that we like threw in the middle that were like really well lit. There was really like bright, cheery music, lots of open spaces, and we kind of put a couple of them after each threatening part. So we want to see how people recovered when we were we're going to put you in this more neutral environment now. So that's the kind of extra bit we added for this.
So they'd go through the creepy bit, and then they'd go into a nice environment.
And then they did that once
and then
more.
back into the creepy bit.
Yeah.
And then back into a nice
spot. Yeah. They ended on a nice
going on
bit.
this horrible roller coaster of a journey.
Yeah, so we call it like a bit like you're on like a psychological roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'd sort of go through it all at once. They didn't take the headset off.
No, it was like 10 minutes in total.
Okay.
And we measured their skin sweat response while they were in the VR world. So they had a couple of electrodes on their fingers.
Okay.
And was all this after they'd woken up?
Yeah, so this was after they'd either had a night of sleep deprivation or slept overnight in the sleep lab. So the following morning. Yeah.
So you had some that went in the sleep lab and some that you kept awake?
Yeah. So the ones in the sleep lab, we were interested in actually whether certain stages of sleep might have been important. So in the sleep group, we measured their sleep activity overnight. And the sleep deprivation group, we actually sent them home to be sleep deprived. So previous PhD students, bless them, have done sleep deprivation studies where they've had a room of participants and them overnight in the department.
Oh God, what, keeping everyone away?
Them. Yeah, and I couldn't think of anything worse. So in COVID, my supervisor and Marcus, who was a postdoc at the time, they trialled it doing it like at home. So participants wear a watch, and so we can kind of check whether they've fallen asleep. And there's not too many rules. Like we ask them not to drink caffeine, but otherwise they can kind of do whatever they want to stay awake. And we get like a record of what they did, and then we check the watch. So
that's quite a real world situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when you have sleep deprivation, you're not with others, are you, all the time?
Like playing games or something,
Yeah, that sounds more realistic, right?
Yeah, and I think we had 2 people who were excluded because the watch data said they'd been asleep.
No.
They were asked and we had the watch data, so we just had to be quite strict. Like even if they'd said they'd stayed awake but their watch had said they'd fallen, we just excluded them. So I always get asked, like, how do you know that they stayed awake? Well, we got these kind of the watch and their self-report, so combined, and hopefully we can be confident they were sleep deprived.
Okay, so you had half the people got a good night's sleep, half the people didn't. And then they both used the VR headset and went through this.
So the sleep deprived group would have come back in the morning. Done that. And they also did that anxiety questionnaire in the evening and the morning as well. So we could see if we found the same as the previous study did too with that.
Yeah, so they filled in this questionnaire and they also wore some monitors so you could measure their sweat response and their heart rate.
Yeah.
And then you'd compare the results.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
Yeah, well, what were the results then?
Yeah, so the questionnaire data really nicely replicated. So we found a significant increase in state anxiety levels if participants were sleep deprived. We also found around the 50% of participants exceeded the clinical cutoff on the questionnaire. The one thing we found that was different was the previous study found that the ones that had a good night of sleep, their anxiety levels didn't really change from evening to morning, but we found this significantly reduced over time. So not only is sleep deprivation increasing, sleep seems to be important for then reducing, which I think makes more sense, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it also means that they were having probably a good enough sleep in the lab that they were able to feel less anxious the next day. And then the VR thing itself, we found when participants were first exposed to a threatening part and then exposed to the second threatening part, if they'd had a night of sleep, they had quite sort of high anxiety levels in the first threatening part, which is not surprising, right? It's still like a new environment, like what's going on. But they were able to significantly, those levels significantly reduced in the second threatening part. So we kind of linked that to they were probably able to sort of regulate and learn that nothing bad was going to happen. And we didn't see that in the sleep deprived group, so their levels were just as high the second time.
Oh, that's interesting.
We did also look at how well they were able to sort of recover. So when they were in threat and then they went into this like neutral nice part, we didn't find any differences there between the sleep and sleep deprived groups, suggesting they were all maybe able to recover. It was this kind of regulation when you're exposed to threat like the second time. Which I think has like quite strong links with anxiety more generally, is like when you're sleep deprived, you kind of lose that ability to kind of regulate and learn that an environment is kind of safe, if you're sleep deprived, you kind of stay in this hypervigilant state a lot of the time.
Oh.
Yeah.
A hypervigilant state. I think I know what that means. Does that mean sort of
It means like heightened, arousal, and you're kind of always on alert.
Yeah.
It's probably a better way to put it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. So the people who hadn't slept, when they went back into the kind of creepy environment, they were just as anxious as they were the first time. But the people, if you've had a good night's sleep, you can kind of think, oh no, I've been here before. I know, it's all fine.
Yeah. We try, although there's no neuroimaging and brain responses in this study, we try and link it to what we know about what happens to the brain when people are sleep deprived. So you find that after a night of sleep deprivation, your kind of prefrontal part of your brain, which kind of has a control over your emotion brain regions, doesn't function as well and doesn't connect to these brain regions as well. So that suggests that when you're sleep deprived, you have less control over your emotions, which is maybe why you have this heightened anxiety, which you're not able to learn. Obviously, we need to do neuroimaging at the same time to confirm that, but that's kind of our reasoning as to why that might be going on.
So is there going to be any more studies into this after?
No, this study was it took up so much time. It took me a year to build the VR world.
Oh, wow.
And then obviously, as you can imagine, the testing was very laborious.
Yes, quite a lot.
But no, it's kind of a standalone study. And I've kind of left the VR world now.
Yeah.
But it's still super interesting.
Oh,
I'd like to think that people will start using VR as more of a bridge between the real world and kind of static images and that sort of thing to make it a bit more lifelike in the future with sleep studies.
Yeah.
So other people will build on this research, won't they, at some point?
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Anyone listening who wants to do a sleep study, you can do the imaging for us. That would be good.
Yeah, no, a really interesting future research avenue would be to get the neuroimaging in the morning and kind of map it to these. You can even sort of play the video back to people while they're in the fMRI machine and kind of map the brain responses. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good as well that you've kind of used the VR, and that's a kind of new technique that you can use in sleep studies now.
Yeah. It was a steep learning curve, but I got lots of interest in the study because you've got cool VR study.
Yeah.
It's I want to do it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a novel thing, isn't it?
Yeah, you mentioned VR and everybody's like, oh, yes, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Had many other researchers used VR? Is it quite a well-used thing, or is it?
Not so much in the sleep space. I'm hoping that we'll get some nice reviews and it will be out there in the next sort of 6 months or so.
Oh, yeah. Good. Oh, so you're publishing this now? So it's not published yet?
No, it was all written up in the thesis.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, that's openly available to read, but we did a couple of extra tasks, so I've kind of added them in and created more of a narrative around it.
Yeah.
So, it's hopefully going to be out there soon.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll look forward to that being out there. I'm sure people will read it and think, oh, I'm going to use VR.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a really, really good tool. Much better than just showing someone a picture. You can really put people in different environments.
So it's going to be published, and that's going to be in the next 6 months. So
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So that's be really interesting, and we'll look forward to reading that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So your second project, this is what you're doing now, isn't it?
Yes.
This is what's all this one about?
It's all about smartphone, social media, and how it affects sleep and well-being in adolescence. So a complete pivot on the last one. Well, still sleep related.
Still sleep and anxiety, I guess.
Mental health. Actually, it's not that different.
But now with adolescents, so sort of teenagers, and smartphones, that feels very topical, I think.
Oh, absolutely,
It's talking about.
But it came about because we were invited to be on a Channel 4 documentary. Last summer. So summer 2024.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who was we?
Me and my PI, Lisa Henderson, who's head of department as well. Her research has been mainly in adolescents and young children. But she was contacted by Bold Print Studios, a production company, and they were going to do a 21-day complete phone ban in a group of 12-year-olds, and they'd found a school that were willing to do that, and they wanted some psychology researchers to kind of measure the impact on various different things.
Oh, wow.
So we obviously pushed looking at sleep, given that we're sleep researchers, well-being and mood, and they were also interested in other things like the children's like cognitive abilities, so like their attention and
of
like
course, yeah,
memory and that sort of stuff. And we found like really striking results. Bearing in mind there's no control group in this, it's just a group of like 12-year-olds that gave up everything for 3 weeks, and we measured them before and after the ban. So we found that they reported sleeping an hour longer at the end of the ban.
Really?
Yeah, falling asleep 20 minutes faster. They had around a 20% reduction in their like symptoms linked to anxiety and reduction in negative mood. And then their attention also got significantly better. We used like a special task where they had to like press the spacebar when they'd seen various numbers on the screen, except when the number was a 3. So they got kind of better at that task over time. But obviously we didn't have a control group, and it was kind of not conventional research. They were like motivated by being on TV on this documentary.
Of course.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to test this again, but in a much more controlled environment with a control group. So we applied for some funding from this UO Family Foundation, the charity that funds a lot of this kind of smartphone social media research. So we got a pilot grant to kind of test this a bit more robustly. So that's what we've been doing in the past sort of since like January. So seeing like, are these massive effects like actually true?
Or was it the TV effect?
Headline worthy.
Or was it just the TV show? Oh, that's really cool. So you did the kind of TV project, and now you're doing a kind of real life, more robust project.
Outside of a documentary context.
And could you tell us a bit about the kind of background in terms of smartphone use and why it's an issue?
Yeah.
Or might be an issue.
You'll probably not be surprised that we've had this kind of real abundance of smartphone and social media use in young people recently. And with that has come kind of a steady rise of mental health conditions in adolescents. So some people have just kind of automatically made the link that increased smartphone, increased social media must be related to increased mental health problems. But the evidence is not really kind of there for those really strong claims. So you'll find there's a lot of like scaremongering in the media. Like we get so many headlines about how screen time is so bad and can link to like depression and anxiety symptoms in young people.
About that a lot.
Yeah, and the correlations are actually between kind of smartphone use, social media, mental health. They're actually quite weak in the literature, and then it's due to the way people actually. There's so many different ways people have like measured smartphone, social media use. A lot of people rely on self-reports of getting young people to estimate their screen time rather than kind of objective measures. So you can actually check screen time on your phone, like stuff like that. They tend to rely on young people's sort of opinion on their screen time. And so there's been weak correlations. And then some studies have done various types of bans. So to find more causal evidence, you kind of need to manipulate, if they either restrict or ban this, what are the effects? Kind of before and after. And they've had really mixed findings as well. And they tend to be done in sort of slightly older adolescents because it's easier to do. So like kind of university samples around like 18 years of age.
Well, that's too late, isn't it? Because it's at school.
Yeah. And like some have found positive effects on like mood. Less have been done on sleep. And some have found like no effect. So these are really, really mixed literature. And people have even looked at, this is a whole different kind of worms, but like school bans, are they effective for well-being? And there was this big study that was published recently by Goodyear et al, and they found like no effect of whether a school has a restrictive policy, so they do have some kind of restriction on bans, or permissive, so they're kind of more relaxed.
And there was no difference?
No difference between the two. Yeah.
That is interesting, because you get so many headlines, like you say. And I feel like you hear about all the time, you need to reduce your screen time. But actually, it sounds like the evidence isn't really there.
Yet. I mean,
Maybe, have they done a lot of studies on this?
There's more and more coming out. Like, it's quite hard to keep up, to be honest, with this literature. But we just need, like, sort of more causal evidence. More of these kind of manipulation studies. So the bans and restriction studies have all been quite different. So there's things like banning completely is obviously the extreme end. There's some that have there's a recent one that came out that blocked mobile internet for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And they found quite good effects. And some where they have a restriction condition, so restrict by 2 hours. But they're really hard to like actually do. Like a ban is good because if you take it off them, they're not using it.
Yeah.
Whereas restriction, I think a lot of facilities have kind of relied on the participant to.
It's hard to
do that.
to monitor, isn't it? That
Yeah,
Definitely.
It's just a massive question.
It basically seems uncertain, really, if it is a problem, and whether we should be reducing screen time. We just need more evidence, really.
Yeah.
The link with sleep is a bit more clear cut because there's various kind of mechanisms that link smartphone social media use to sleep. So the first one is like if you're on your phone at night, then that's less time you're spent sleeping. So they call it like
that makes sense. Yeah,
it replaces the time spent for sleeping. Especially if you're young, if you're an adolescent going to school and you have to wake up at a certain time in the morning.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the reasons. Another one is like, depending on what you're watching or what you're doing on your phone at night, can sort of increase like psychological arousal. And say you're in like a really dramatic group chat or you're watching like a really emotional video and then you just put your phone down and try and sleep.
Yeah.
It's really difficult then to fall asleep because you've got a lot going on in your
you
head.
just watch something really exciting and then it's hard to switch off after that.
Yeah. And then the last one is a bit more, the evidence is a bit more mixed. It's about how the light from screens can disrupt our melatonin, which is like the like sleep promoting thing in the body.
Yeah.
And it doesn't release when it's meant to because blue light from screens actually like.
And is that to do with almost your brain thinking it's still daytime? Because
something I don't know much about like the actual how the light from screen effects, but there's been studies come out saying that's not the case.
Okay,
so that one's a bit less
sure.
And we did like a scoping review looking at social media and sleep specifically in young people.
What's a scoping studies again?
A scoping review.
A scoping review.
It's just like a level down from like doing a proper systematic search. So you just kind of scan what's out there and descriptively like just do a description of it rather than any fancy stats or anything.
Yeah.
You're looking at the previous research and seeing
just
what
kind of
they
seeing
found.
what's the overall picture.
Yeah.
So we only found 12 studies as context. So it longitudinal studies. And we found that in particular it's like use around the evening that seems to impact later bedtimes and taking longer to fall asleep. So it's really impacting sleep in that sort of initial stage of sleep. So what time you go to bed and how long it takes you to fall asleep. Which kind of links back to the reasons people have said why these smartphones, social media might be impacting on sleep.
Yeah, it makes sense really, doesn't it? If you're staying up late because you can't bring yourself to stop looking at your phone. These algorithms pulling you in. I know, yeah, definitely. I know, I'm really bad. I always tell myself, right, I'm not scrolling tonight. I'm going straight to sleep, or I'm going to read my book. I'm not going to look at my phone.
I'm always on my phone.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So your project then, could you tell us how your project works?
Yeah, so we've had 2 schools take part in the pilot. So we've had 84, I think, students that did the pilot.
Oh.
So they're different ages too, which has been interesting. So the documentary was in 12-year-olds in year 8. We've had 6th formers take part from one school and year 9s take part from another school. So we kind of spanned all the adolescent age range.
And what age is that?
So year 9 was age 13 and 14.
Okay.
And 6th form, they were age 16 and the couple were up to 19. So,
okay.
But majority were
Spread of
16,
ages.
17. Yeah. And we did the same sort of thing, except this time we have 3 groups. So we had one that was doing a complete ban, just like we did in the documentary.
Okay.
We had a control group, which is really important here, so they just carried on as normal. And then we had this brick phone condition, so we gave a group some brick phone Nokias.
Did it have Snake on it?
Yes, it had Snake on it. They were like, what is this? The idea was to like have a condition where to like look at these 2 kind of bands. So they both had in their phone, this one of the groups got a brick phone. Was to see like whether there'd be any differences if they were allowed to like make some like essential texts and calls.
Yeah,
and
that's really interesting.
Yeah. It was actually one of the senior leaders at the 6th form that suggested we have the brick phone condition. So we were kind of working with them on what they wanted to do too. So that's why we ended up with this 3rd condition.
Yeah, that's interesting because you can see the difference between like a smartphone and a normal phone, and then you could
like
say
the communication element.
It's not just because they've got a phone; it's because it is a smartphone.
Yeah. And it was technically more of like that condition is more of a social media ban in a way, because they can't go on social media on that. So they were randomly allocated to the group as well, which is also important. The documentary was a group of kids who just wanted to do the ban. So we said, don't take part unless you're willing to be in any of these 3 conditions.
Yeah.
Again, like, you're not going to get the ones that would really hate to be in ban condition because they're really reliant on their phone, but it was a step forward.
Yeah. So it's more of a randomised controlled trial.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, we did do proper like random allocation.
Yeah. We like that.
Yeah. And we had sort of the same measures as we did in the documentary. We had a 2-month follow-up this time as well.
Right.
So we did like an online questionnaire. And we had a few more open text responses. So we're mixing like quantitative and qualitative data, which is really nice. I've not really looked at qualitative before. So they're having their opinions on the ban, like before and after. We asked them, like, have you changed anything since doing the study? And what they think the government should do to regulate smartphone use, which is like a super interesting question. Yeah, to get their opinions. We didn't expect anything at the follow-up because we weren't trying to do like a behavioural implementation or anything like that.
Yeah.
We just wanted to see what was going on.
Yeah. And what were you measuring then? So did you do a questionnaire before they were put in their group and had their phone or no phone, and then a questionnaire after a certain length of time? How long?
Yeah, so we had our main questionnaires, which we did just before the ban, after the 3-week ban,
3
and then
weeks.
2 months later. Yeah, we did the same 21 days as we did in the documentary.
What sort of questions were you asking?
So we had lots of standardised ones, like one on sleep quality, daytime sleepiness. We used a depression anxiety scale for adolescents.
Okay.
Mood, stress. We also had a couple on like loneliness and social connection, because we're really interested in whether people feel more connected to the people that they're face to face with or less connected to the online people, and how that affects. So a bunch of questionnaires, the same like attention task that we had in the documentary. We also got participants to wear a watch for the whole time and looked objectively at their sleep, and they did a daily diary of their sleepiness and mood as well.
Wow. So it sounds like you got a lot of measured a lot of
information.
Yeah.
So you could tell how much sleep they were getting from the watch.
Yeah.
So
with the watch and the daily booklets, we like did it on a week by week level. So with the questionnaires, we had like pre-ban, post-ban, follow-up. With the watch and the daily booklets, we were able to do like kind of week 1, week 2, week 3, so we could track it a bit more regularly than we were doing with the questionnaires.
And with the attention task, that sounds quite interesting. What was that?
Yeah, it's measures sustained attention. So it was called the Sustained Attention Response Task. Sustained Attention Response Task, so they had numbers from 1 to 9 come up on the screen like one by one, and they were told to press the space bar for every number except when the number was a 3.
Okay.
So it's like a really kind of boring, monotonous task, but it's testing their ability to like withhold their response when the 3 comes up. So we call this a measure of sustained attention. So how well are they able to concentrate and not press that space bar when the 3 comes up? And that's what we saw an effect on in the documentary. They were making less errors on that. So they would more often not press the space bar when the 3 came up after the ban. But that could have just been a practice effect because we didn't have a control group. So that was the attention task that we were using.
Wow. And what were the results? Have you got some results from the study, or is it still ongoing?
No, it's just, I just finished analysing it.
Oh, really?
So I've told Lisa, but this is the first. I have a few talks coming up, but this is the first time I can.
What a privilege!
This is lovely.
They're not as striking as the documentary at all. Yeah, so the only kind of 2 questionnaires where we see that the ban group gets better is daytime sleepiness. So if they're in the ban groups, they're reporting less daytime sleepiness after the ban compared to the control group. And stress, so how stressed they feel. So if they're in the ban groups, they report feeling less stressed at the end of the ban compared to the control, which I think stress is like quite an interesting one.
Yeah.
But everything else, so some things like how long it's taking them to fall asleep, how long they're sleeping, and they're like depression, anxiety, all the groups get slightly better over time from before to after the ban. Yeah. So the control group's also getting a little bit better at these things.
Oh, so there wasn't a big difference in sleep?
No.
Oh, that's really interesting.
No, the only thing that came out was the daytime sleepiness.
Daytime, yeah.
Oh, well, that could be linked to concentration, though. The concentration, was that okay?
We'd found no effects.
Oh.
We found a general effect with attention, so they were all getting a bit better.
They were all getting better.
Yeah, so none of these effects were there at follow-up. So some of them even rebounded. So they, like, for anxiety, for example, they all got a bit better and then they all got worse again at follow-up. But for some of them, it was around exam time, and there could have been some confounds.
Yes, there must be outside factors.
Yeah, so we're like pondering over what there's kind of seemed to be sort of a general benefit of being aware of a study at least, or being familiar with like taking part in the questionnaires, and so it's really interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting that it seems like everyone in the study got a bit better. Yeah. So just being in the study might have improved some things.
Yeah, it's interesting, and obviously we had this qualitative data as well, so we were interested in what the BAM people thought of being in the BAM, and there was really mixed opinions. Like,
oh really?
Yeah, in terms of like how feasible is this to do? It's not very feasible. A lot of them were complaining that they need their phone for a lot of things, like maps, music. Especially the sixth formers, like we had problems with them like needing their rail card on the train. And
well, everything is on your phone now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I don't even carry any money.
No, there was a banking app point as well.
Yeah.
So it was more apparent in the older ones. A lot of them said they were really bored. A few of them found new hobbies, which were really nice, and some of them maintained the hobbies. And then a lot of them had FOMO, so fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Which was quite sad, actually. Yeah. That they'd like their friends would be showing each other stuff and they'd feel really left out.
Oh, yeah.
And they couldn't organise things with their friends.
Yeah.
And it made us think like it's probably a complete ban is probably not the most obvious way to go, because it is really hard for these young people to do.
Yeah. It sounds to me a bit like if it didn't actually improve their sleep and anxiety, but from the qualitative results, it seems like they didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's not a good idea to ban smartphones.
Yeah, because you can't uninvent technology.
Well, yeah.
That's the thing. You've got to adapt to it. So there must be a better way than banning things.
Yeah. Was there any difference between the brick phones and the smartphones?
No.
Oh, okay.
Some of them said the brick phones were actually really annoying to use and didn't even use them. So they were that like clunky for them.
Oh, they didn't even want to play Snake. I'd be up all night playing Snake on my brick phone.
Oh no, really? Oh gosh! When I had my brick phone, I never text. It used to take me so long.
With the they were like, what? Why do I have to press the number
kids
3 times?
these days, they don't know how good they've got it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it was a pilot study. So what's next for the project?
So we have applied for some funding to scale it up into a proper randomised control trial.
Ooh, brilliant.
With over 1,000 young people.
Oh,
so
that would be great.
We are like, this is a pilot study, so we could argue that everything's underpowered, which, I mean, we have like qualitative data that helps kind of speak to potential issues, but so the way to go is to do it properly and well powered and see robustly analyze these effects.
Underpowered means it's not good
enough people to kind of find the effects in the data.
Yeah, they're sort of statistically significant.
Yeah.
I suppose you could argue that it's due to chance because there weren't enough people in your study, because it was just a pilot study. But I think those results are really interesting. I think it's definitely
like we're not disappointed. Because we knew with the documentary that they were probably going to be overstated, and without a control, we found the same thing. We just have a control group that's also shown the same thing. And then we're looking at trying more of a restriction angle, so restricting use at 1 hour around bedtime. So we're really interested in the usage around bedtime, given the links with sleep. So we wouldn't do a total ban necessarily. With the extra funding, we would do sort of a restriction condition. It's more manageable as well.
Yeah,
that sounds a good way.
That sounds a good idea. Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, well, I really hope you get the funding and do the full randomised control trial. And then you'll have to come back to the research room and tell us how the full randomised control trial goes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Sure.
That'd be great.
That would be great.
Yeah. It's been really interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I think now, I think it's time.
It's time for the hat.
For the
how
hat.
exciting.
So it's been sat here all the time.
I thought, do I have to wear that when I came in?
No, don't worry. We won't make you wear it.
No, it's just we've got all these random little questions that we're going to ask. Are you going to ask the first one?
Okay. What was your dream job as a kid before you knew that researcher was an option?
I used to watch Blue Peter, and there was a chocolate artist on Blue Peter. And I was like, Mum, I want to be a chocolate artist. I wasn't even good at art.
Is that specifically making art from chocolate?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Then
you can eat your art.
And then you can eat it.
Yeah. I was like, this is what I want to do.
Okay. What's the nerdiest thing you do?
I don't really do anything.
Oh, you're just really cool.
Research. Coding.
Oh.
I analyse all my data in R, which is a coding language.
Yeah.
So I guess that I always feel quite nerdy if I'm coding in R.
Oh, yeah. It is quite
I
nerdy.
guess.
Coding.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone starting a similar project?
I could give advice to somebody doing overnight sleep studies in a PhD. I would say make sure you give yourself enough. If you're under time constraints, make sure you plan and sort of give yourself enough time. I only slept in the sleep lab once a week for my own sanity.
Oh, wow.
Did you?
Yeah. So when people were there overnight, I had to sleep in the other room. And that's what I'm doing now with my overnight studies. That's why sleep deprived people at home, so you can go home and get some sleep.
That sounds like
it's
a good
more
idea.
ecologically valid, really. So I'd say, don't do more than one night a week in the sleep lab and sleep deprive your participants at home.
Yeah, good advice.
That's really good
definitely.
advice. Which emoji best represents your research?
The Zeds.
Oh, yeah, the Zeds.
Oh, there must be a
Of
little
course.
sleepy
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess. And that's for both.
Yeah.
All the smart.
Yeah.
There's like a little smartphone now too. So.
Oh, yeah. God, there's quite a few relevant
There's
ones.
so many.
Is there?
Little people
Yeah.
sleeping, little people wide
There's
awake.
There's a cool little brain emoji as well.
Is there?
I've said too many.
Yeah, there's loads. You can have them all.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do one more. What's the next big goal for your project?
I think it would be scaling up this work and
Yeah.
moving beyond these complete bans to more easier to implement things like restriction and focusing on kind of restriction around bedtime use. Yeah, the big goal as well is to not just look at kind of time spent on the phone, but what young people are actually doing on their phone, like the content and the context and how that impacts sleep is like a really big area to go into. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting because it might make a difference, I suppose, if you're watching a video or if you're just texting someone or reading something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what, like TikTok, for example, what kind of content people are viewing on TikTok. And yeah.
Oh, it's all so interesting.
It is,
I'm going to have to go and read a lot about sleep research.
You'll have to go in
now.
the sleep pod as well. I think you definitely need
I'm
to
going to go down to the sleep lab and get myself on a
sleep
study.
lab. Sorry.
Yeah. And I'm surprised, like, we should probably advertise the sleep lab more because every time I tell it to people outside the department, they're like, what, you've got to do
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
know.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming into the research room today and telling us all about your two brilliant projects. That was absolutely fascinating. And I definitely want to get you back to tell us more about, hopefully, if you do go on and do the randomized control trial. But yeah, and we'll put all the information that we can in the show notes. We'll put some links in there. If people want to read more, maybe we'll put the documentary link in there.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah. So yeah, if people want to find out more, have a look in the show notes. But yeah, just to say thank you very much, really.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank
It's
you.
been
I've really enjoyed it.
fascinating. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed.
Bye.
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 If you enjoy the podcast, please do leave us a review. It makes a massive difference. And don't forget to like and follow us so you never miss an episode.
On what? What the like and follows and stuff?
On wherever they're listening to this.
Oh, right, okay.